So the lab you're going to do today is on kinetics, and we are going to try and determine the rate law of a reaction between thiosulfate ion and hydronium ion. The hydronium ion comes from hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid is a strong acid that ionizes completely. So typically when we show this type of reaction, you've got HCl. Typically we just show the ionization as such. However, we will be using water in the experiment, and the hydrochloric acid has been diluted down to 2 molar. So what's shown here is the hydronium ion right here. You know this is a strong acid and ionizes completely. These two concentrations are equal. Because the acid is a strong acid, it ionizes completely. Our goal will be to determine the rate law of this reaction. We're going to be determining the order with respect to both reactants here. So you'll get a rate law. The A here would be thiosulfate ion. The B would be the hydronium ion. And your goal is to determine the rate law for this reaction. Please remember also that you can generate a reaction mechanism for a reaction. You haven't actually generated a mechanism yet. You've just analyzed it. That was our lesson last time, and it's a little tricky, so you need to go back and review. Make sure you do all relevant problem solving. Remember that the mechanism is a series of steps by which the reaction occurs. The slow step is called the rate determining step because the slow step determines the overall rate of the reaction. So you'll want to take that into account. A slow step probably is not unimolecular. It's probably bi or even ter. The slowest step will have the highest molecularity. So the speed at which the slow step occurs, again, determines the overall rate of the reaction. So first you're going to figure out the rate law, then you're going to try and come up with a potential mechanism for this reaction. There are 2 pre-lab questions. They're both pretty simplistic. I don't think you'll have any trouble answering them. The materials are at your bench top. You will find a dropper bottle of sodium thiosulfate. That's your thiosulfate ion. You know all group 1 containing compounds are water soluble. Concentrations on the bottle. You will have hydrochloric acid in dropper bottles, concentrations 2 molar. That's not that concentrated, but we don't want any burns, spills, etc. So the glove array is out. Pick your size. You have a rinse beaker that has tap water in it. You have an index card. The other period should have already put a plus sign on your index card. The plus sign should be the size of the well of your micro-titer dish. You have a stopwatch, and you have eyedroppers already there. One's in the distilled water, and one is just a transfer pipette. The rest of the lab is very self-explanatory. Please note that 20 drops is equal to 1 ml. You're going to work through this experiment. There is one change that period 4 is making that period 2 didn't make. Period 2 used rows A and B. Their samples are still in there so you can see what color they make. You will use rows C and D. So wherever it says A, you're going to C. Wherever it says B, you're going to D. This allows you to use the same micro-titer dish because we dispose of it at the end. It's too difficult to clean. Also, please note that in the reaction, you're generating a solid, which is sulfur. You're going to start with 2 clear solutions. You're going to get a yellow solid in there. You also generate a gas, so there will be multiple lines of evidence that a chemical change has occurred. You're going to be running 3 different series. Make sure you collect all your data before you do the calculations. The data analysis is here. Now this is the first time you're seeing a lab that doesn't have a data table in it, and I'm not giving you one. Because In AP Chemistry, like all the AP Sciences, they want you to do some inquiry-based labs. Inquiry-based labs can be written a number of different ways. One way to do an inquiry-based lab is to take the whole procedure out, and you have to figure out your own procedure. Sounds like a great idea, except it could be very dangerous, and if we blow the lid off the place, we're going to get in trouble. So I typically don't do labs where I give you no procedure. I might leave one step out and have you figure out what it is, or I might give you all the steps jumbled up and you have to unjumble it before you go do the lab. That's a much safer way to go. Another way to make a lab more inquiry-based is to give each group different samples or different size samples. In the lab you just did previously with the magnesium and the hydrochloric acid, I could have given you different lengths of magnesium ribbon, and you would have gotten different findings, and you could figure out which length produced the best findings in regard to theoretical yield, percent error, etc. Another way to do an inquiry lab is to not give you a data table. And that's what's happened here. So you will record data as you go. You'll figure out what needs to go in that data table. It's not just the data you collect. It's also going to be the rate law, etc. So you'll be making your own data table. I'm more than happy to look at it before you submit it. So that's what makes this lab inquiry-based. Your inquiry-based labs will say lab 1 point something, and it'll have a Q for inquiry. Q is the inquiry. So that's what you're going to see here. There are a few questions to answer. I am going to have you postulate a mechanism. Remember, a plausible mechanism is one in which the steps add to the net equation, and the slow step predicts that rate law. So make sure you meet those criteria. The last question here says, why must you add acid to water rather than water to acid? And this is for safety reasons. You always add acid to water when you make a dilution, because when you dilute acid, the reaction is highly exothermic. A lot of heat is released. So if you have a bed of water to catch some of the heat, you won't get an explosive reaction, and whatever you're making the dilution in, the glassware won't blow. So you always add acid to water because it's so exothermic such that the water that's already there will catch some of the heat that's released. That's a question you sometimes see in part 1 of an AP exam where they're looking for lab technique. That's why I've thrown it in here. You'll write your ESOE and conclusion, and you can do it all on the Chromebooks as you've done. The lab's very self-explanatory. Read carefully. Again, wherever it says A1, you'll be using C1. Wherever it says B1, you'll be using D1. So the A will be replaced with the C, the B with the D. Other than that, it's all there for you. Make sure you get goggles. We don't want anything in your eyes. You'll have your materials at the bench top already. When you are done, I will collect the micro-titer dishes and dispose of them. All other materials will go back into your buckets and we'll collect them. We have quite a bit of time to do the lab. Collect all your data.
Okay.
All right, who wants to be filmed so we can let the kiddies see who are sick? Come on, I need a group. Who's not going to spill? Yours? You're going to do it? All right, so just make sure. Yeah, too bad, Madison. Sam's all in. So who's going to do it?
I don't know. No, don't film my face.
That plus sign was supposed to be the size of the micro-titer dish, so you'll be making a new one.
Don't film
Hi,
my
Sam.
face. No,
Sam's going to film
no.
for you. Now, how is this going to work? I think somebody's going to have to hold it up as you go. So you're all over this. It's recording. So no, don't stop it because I just want one video. So make sure.
We're all just going to be talking.
Yes, make sure you discuss the lab.
But didn't you just say Wait, but didn't you just take a video of you discussing the lab?
Yes, but I think Marissa really wants to see, so she'll greatly appreciate your help
Marissa
today.
doesn't like me.
Marissa, look who's doing your lab today. Here we go.
How many pairs of gloves do we need?
Please don't spill on my iPad. But make sure you pick it up and film it as it goes. I'm just going to let it run. It'll probably be a good
Can you give me a medium?
What?
A medium pen.
Sure.
Can you get gloves or goggle? Oh, they're right there. Just kidding. Give me go goggle. Give me go goggle.
And guys, start videotaping it about conversation should be about chemistry. The right type of
Then we're gonna take pictures. Someone take pictures as we're going. Because we need all the extra credit we can get.
I know, I'm literally gonna put like 10 pictures.
This video should be our extra credit.
Oh my god.
She can hear all of it.
I know. That's the point.
This is awkward.
So where's this? I don't know. Can I opt out of the video? Yeah, get Finkel to do it.
Who is Marissa's group? So should we film you guys so Marissa can see?
Yeah.
Yeah, film them.
Okay. But hi, thanks. Josh and Maddie are going to help you today. Now, the only thing is when you go to mix, to actually see the micro tighter, you're probably going to have to lift it up. Don't hurt my iPad.
I'll be gentle.
All right?
But what's fun is fun. What do I pull up?
Yeah, because I don't want to split it.
This was Master's role. He did all this.
I guess at the end I could like take the midsection out, but that's a lot of work, so. All right, get your materials and go. Hi.
So,
And just don't spill on my
Hello, Marissa.
It's going super well.
Oh, dang, I just turned it
Guys,
off.
read the directions, please. That is the sick room.
it should be 1.5.
Hey, man. Marissa doesn't need to see this.
She can do it. You sure?
Yeah.
Look at my hair. That's what you get when you barely sleep. You look like
Hair.
this. Look, it's Haley's in there. Look, it's Haley.
Remember her? I know it's been a while. Alright.
What's the objective here?
I thought you were paying attention. Well, we just have to follow the procedure.
But because it's not in there. I have it in a different book, but I don't have the book.
I have to pee again. But can you go back and finish that call?
I'm gonna go ahead and hand the
Yes, do that.
write up. I didn't know what else to call it, so just call it.
You are so mean to me, Maddie.
Yep. Because I'm tired.
Not Sarah Morales.
No, I don't care about it.
You don't need a hot plate.
It's a normal request.
Here's the lab.
What's up? I'll get Maddie.
I was really excited to have my
Here you
solo.
go. And I need. I have one for everybody.
Is this paper? Is this like paper? Or is it just...
Good trash.
Hello.
Blow into it. All the fingers out.
Okay. Should we do the pre-lab before the...
Here you go.
questions first?
14 minutes
Based on the
of
front
nothing.
Predict 2 forms.
Is this lab online, Dr. Kalish?
It is.
Actually, you know what? I
It'll
can
be
write
at
that
the
in
top
right now.
because it'll say Q. Q. It'll be toward the top.
Oh, I
The
don't
entry
think
labs
so.
are at the top.
Le Chatelier.
It's going to be advanced 1.5. That's it. Q.
Hey, here I am.
Got any grapes?
Wait, you shared it? Did you share it around?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
It is I. What do you want right now? What's going on?
I'm on so many things.
I just wish
There's no way this is good.
Yeah, because I got 20s on all my
Don't listen. Designing hand warmers?
today is the 19th, right?
Yes.
I could go for some.
You ever some what?
Yes, I'm shooting candy.
Yeah, it's on F. Just go imagine. I'm gonna.
This isn't on here.
What are you at?
Just kidding, it's right here.
I'm starting off well.
So, this
I got a B, so I'm happy. I'll take a B. Alright, let's.
is this person do them?
Lab title. I wonder what my face just looked like. It's probably great.
Literally 5 more.
Hey, maybe it's this.
No, it's this. We're not doing gases.
No, it's okay.
Are we
You can
not?
still do it.
No.
I'll do like
Not.
question 1.
Okay.
Question 2.
Marissa.
I'll do the conclusion and the data table.
Step 1.
Josh.
What?
I always do the objective.
This is what we're supposed to be doing.
Or I do the discussion.
Where's our lab?
As the
Maybe it's on the chart. It's not.
Can you flip mid video?
here, hold it up above it.
Why wouldn't you be able to?
Do you see a button? So it's- you can flip.
Oh, flip the camera?
Flip in real life.
Make it dark. Bye. Oh my god, it already smells. How do I make stuff? Just kidding.
I think a little higher.
See, now this is the lab you want to do while you're sick.
Oh, too much. Whatever.
You can't smell it.
You tried. Good.
Figure out
Just do it like this.
figure out how sulfuric acid. One lab
Okay. So, first thing you're gonna do.
Maybe it should face us so we know what we're doing.
Oh, it is 21.
Okay.
I don't know how to just take the notes. Just take it all out.
plus mark.
Be very careful.
It's only 2 more.
One lab partner.
What are you trying to figure out?
You're supposed to put 20 drops in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
You just said 20.
Getting more. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
It's like 21.
Thank you. And then we're supposed to do it again this the second one. Seven.
We're not ready for that. No, unless you want to take an extra plus.
8, 9, 10, 11, 15.
So then direct
16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
No, because I was gonna. Can you bring my
So
phone?
does he just kind of like squeeze the pen?
It's on my desk.
But does he direct or
Would you like to do the hydrochloric acid?
Why don't do that? How many?
20.
There's like nothing in here.
Go and get more.
In which ones? The same ones or D?
Indeed.
Okay, that's. I mean,
And then add it to this, you turn the timer. You'll rinse it out. But you want to time. Remember like the lab we did last year with the iodine clock reaction and turned blue black? Yeah. No, actually, I'm not sure what it is. Yeah, no.
in both? 20 in both?
Dr. Kiyoshi,
And B1 and B2. D1.
I did steps 1 and 2.
Now you're going to suck everything up from D with the transfer pipette, and you're going to put it into C. And when you put it into C is when you set the timer. How we do?
Good, we got things in the things.
And now you're timing.
Not yet.
Not yet.
We didn't do that
You
step yet.
can move it up.
No.
We got
See,
20
I
and
don't know.
20 and 20.
So you can set this here, but then when you go to film down, I can help you. What? Guys, what you're going to do is you're going to pick everything up from the D row, so D1 into, that's what you use to pick everything up from,
after we're done.
you rinse it out in the water rinse,
Are we supposed
and when
to-
you're all done, you'll throw it away.
Wait, in the rinse or the?
The rinse, rinse, rinse.
Are we supposed to start as soon as we put the first
Yeah.
drop in? Okay.
Did you do it yet?
No.
No.
All right, are you ready?
So everything from D.
But you want to put the index card underneath, right? Like where the plus is.
Hold that.
Yeah.
Right there.
You can make a new plus if you want.
Where's the plus supposed to go?
The plus has to be the size of the well, and you're going to be, when the plus is covered up, is when you stop the timer or record the time.
But are we transferring this into there?
No, the other way, D into C.
Oh my goodness.
He knocked it. Are you ready? How's my image? No, I'll move this.
That's fine. It's right there.
It's good?
Yes.
No, you're going the other way.
Ah. It's all at once.
Josh, check my iPad because I moved it when she moved.
And then this other one?
Yeah, do the other one too.
Maybe like a aerial view. Like just, yeah.
Make sure you can see it.
Fine. And you can't really see the plus sign.
Tell me when you've done it. Did you write down when you put the other one in? You did it like 10 seconds apart, right?
Sounds right.
Did it turn yet? It's turning, isn't
Yeah.
it? So note that time, write it down.
38 something.
You need the something. Watch the other one now.
Change both of them to one.
2 of each.
Right. We don't need to keep track of the
55.
moles and the molarity
You want to record it all?
stuff.
35, 30.
It just says, yeah. It's like, because it's already there, we don't need to figure it out.
All right, keep going. So you basically do the same thing each time.
So the first
Should we
one
maybe
should
make
be-
a table instead of just writing it randomly?
Well, like,
First one should be
I
reaction.
didn't have time to make a whole table. We have to do it fast.
Oh, we have to write that we did it 10 seconds apart. Here.
I said that solid.
I can't get this with my gloves.
Yes, yellow. Yeah, solid. You see the solid and it's a color change.
Okay,
And
so
then
it's a
the
color
you
change.
see bubble, you see it again.
Ooh, it looks really good.
Should see a little bubble.
Oh, we have to do it. Are you timing now? We need you for D2. I gotta get my hatch. Why are we letting you do it? Do a second hatch.
You said 20 jobs in one
Alright, I'll do down.
Do you want me to do it?
Yes. Do that. So, gonna go do that.
Alright, and so that's what you keep doing.
Okay.
Do you think we should film it off for her?
Whoa, I'm about to run out.
Is it the same thing over and over again?
So after
Alright, so sign out, Maddie. Say you just keep doing that.
I love you. Keep doing it. Keep doing what you're doing.
You can't see anyone, you're playing at the ceiling.
so then after that, so this is assuming that volumes are additive.